steadfast love is better than life, my lips will praise you. And so I will bless you as long as I live, and I will lift up my hands, and I will call on your name. Amen. I really have to search to find the ones that aren't complaining all the time. We'll get around to those, but yeah. Cool. Oh, housekeeping thing. The only housekeeping thing is that if you wrote the third paper, they're now in your boxes. All right. Cool. Any other housekeeping things for me? You're writing your fourth paper. Keep going. Anything else? So, cool. Well, let's look at Samuel. Samuel. I wrote the book on Judges that I showed you last time that you get for like $10, $15. I also wrote a book on Samuel. It's now out of print. And about 2 months ago, somebody messaged me or put on Facebook that in fact, because it's out of print and therefore it's hard to buy, there's a copy that you can buy for something like $1,400 and worth every cent. It's like silly. Anyway, it went out of print, and not because everybody bought it up. Trust me. Yeah. So anyway, 1 Samuel. Cool. I'll talk about that in a second. Again, with the outline. This is something I came up with 13 years ago, 14 years ago. If I were to do an outline of the books of Samuel, it would look different than this, but this is perfectly fine. I wouldn't make it this complicated. For me at least, the thing that you need to know about the books of Samuel, and again there's two, right, 1 and 2. The books of Samuel is that we have stories about just Samuel, the prophet. We have stories about Samuel and Saul. One tiny little story of Samuel and David. A lot of stories about Samuel and David. Saul and David. And then in 2 Samuel, it's all about David. So, all about Samuel, all about Samuel and Saul. Samuel and David. Saul and David. Just David. In fact, Samuel drops out of the picture about halfway through 1 Samuel. That story about Samuel and David is the last time we ever hear anything basically about Samuel. So it's kind of silly that we name these books Samuel when he disappears like a quarter of the way through. I didn't name them. If I had, I would have named it the Book of Roy. And that's probably the reason why they didn't let me name it. Cool. Well, let's see what we got. These are just stories, so it's pretty easy. Let's see what we got. Yeah. These are great stories. These are stories. In my opinion, even more than anything else we've read, these are stories that you could read over and over and over and over, and they're very complex. They're very nuanced. They're almost Shakespearean. I mean, they really are. Whoever wrote this was just, yeah, it's just amazing. So anyway, let's see what we got here. There was a certain man of Ramathaim, a Zuphite, from the hill country of Ephraim, whose name was Elkanah. He was the son of Jehoram, the son of Elihu, the son of Tohu, the son of Zuph, an Ephraimite. He had 2 wives. Uh-oh. Okay. Again, this never, ever, 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 ever works out. Whenever you start the story off by a guy having 2 wives, it's going to be not pleasant. Consistently. It's like people make a big deal about polygamy in the Bible. Yeah, and it never works out. So, he had 2 wives. The name of the one was Hannah, and the name of the other was Peninnah. And Peninnah had children, but Hannah had no children. Not good. So, this man used to go up year by year from his town to worship and to sacrifice to the Lord of hosts at Shiloh, because that's where, if you remember in Deuteronomy, right, when you come to the land that the Lord your God is giving you, you don't just worship wherever you want to. You find the place that the Lord your God will choose out of all your habitations to put his name there, and that's where you worship. One place, remember, right? Cool? So, anyway, at this point, the place that God has obviously chosen is Shiloh. Cool. So this man used to go up year by year from his town to worship and to sacrifice to the Lord of hosts at Shiloh. With his 2 sons of Eli, Hophni and Phinehas, were priests to the Lord. Eli is an old guy, and he has 2 sons, Hophni and Phinehas. They're sort of all part of the priestly family. And they're there doing their stuff at Shiloh. On the day when Elkanah sacrificed, he would give portions to his wife Peninnah and to all her sons and daughters. But to Hannah he gave a yum, 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 yum. And you can see there, if you had the NRSV, the double portion B, you go down to the bottom and it says, who knows? Right, Hebrews are, again, I don't know what it is. He gives portions to Peninnah and all his sons and or all her sons and daughters, but to Hannah he gives something. I don't know what. I really don't know what. Nobody else knows either. But he gives something. But whatever it is that he gives to Hannah makes Peninnah mad. So again, double portion would be fine, I guess. She gets twice as much or something. But he gives her something special because he loved her, even though the Lord had closed her womb. Her rival used to provoke her severely and to irritate her because, yet again, the Lord had closed her womb. And so it went on year by year. As often as she went up to the house of the Lord, she used to provoke her. So the whole family goes up to Shiloh. Every single year, Elkanah passes out the stuff, gives Hannah yum yum yum, and he sees it, gets mad. Hey, barren woman! And starts provoking her, right? And it makes Hannah upset. She used to provoke her, therefore Hannah wept, and she wouldn't eat. And then her husband Elkanah, who every year went to Shiloh, and after the sacrifice, passed out the portions, and every year gave Hannah yum 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 yum, which caused every year Peninnah to provoke her, which caused Hannah to get upset. Every year. Her husband Elkanah said to her, Hannah, why are you crying? Idiot. Why are you crying? Why don't you eat? Why is your heart sad? Am I not more to you than 10 sons? No. Quite simply, you're an idiot. Why would you even... Elkanah is not going to be a very positive character, it seems to me. After they had eaten and drunk at Shiloh, Hannah rose, and she presented herself before the Lord. Now Eli, the priest, was sitting on the seat beside the doorpost of the temple of the Lord. Cool, we need to stop right now. So we talked a little bit about the tabernacle, right? The tabernacle is not a big building. It's not a huge building, right? It's probably smaller than this room, actually. Probably maybe half the size of this room. It's probably from here to the window. So far, so good? And obviously, 2/3 of it is taken up by the holy place. Right about here would be the holy place, Ark of the Covenant. Ark of the Covenant here, right? And this part has the table of bread, the lampstand, and the golden altar for incense. So far, so good? You see the picture? So she's presenting herself to the Lord. So she is either right outside or right inside this holy place. And Eli is sitting at the doorpost. So he's sitting right here, and she's either right there or right there. So far, so good? I mean, he can see her really well. So she was deeply distressed. Yet again, she gets provoked. And she prayed to the Lord, and she wept bitterly, and she made this vow. O Lord of hosts, if only you will look on the misery of your servant, and remember me, and not forget your servant, but will give your servant a male child, and I will set him before you as a Nazarite. And a Nazarite is kind of like a monk. Samson, in the book of Judges, is a Nazarite. Thank God. It's like Friar Tuck is a friar. No, he's not. I mean, he might wear the stuff, and he might be, but Samson's not. But she says that she's going to dedicate this kid to God like a monk. I'm going to set him before you as a Nazarite until the day of his death. He's neither going to drink wine or intoxicants, which of course Samson never did. Wink, wink. And no razor shall touch his head, which Samson never did. Wink, wink. And so as she continued praying before the Lord, Eli observed her mouth. Hannah was praying silently, only her lips moved. Her voice wasn't heard. All right, so let's see. We're in a holy place. A woman is there who is upset. And this is what she's doing. She's facing the holy, right? Holy place, the very holy place. And this is what she's doing. Ready? Right? So, Eli observes her. And obviously he thinks that she's drunk. Sure, because that's what people do when they're standing in a holy place, looking at the holy place and moving their mouth and not saying anything. This is called prayer, something that people regularly do in holy places. Idiot. So he thinks she's drunk. And so Eli said, how long are you going to make a drunken spectacle of yourself? Put away your wine. And Hannah, if she had been Roy, would have answered, shut up, old man. Idiot. No, but she doesn't. Hannah answered, no, my lord, I am a woman deeply troubled. Notice what she says here. It's so beautiful. She says, I have drunk neither wine nor liquor, but rather I've been pouring out. Again, it's just beautiful, right? She hasn't been drinking. She hasn't been putting stuff in. She's been pouring out. Again, it's just beautiful poetry. But I've been rather pouring out my soul before the Lord. Don't regard your servant as a worthless woman. The word that's used here is an unusual expression in Hebrew. It's used very rarely, actually, in the Bible. And it means, it means worthless woman. It means worthless person. The way I always translate this is scum, right? It's because you know people like this. Some of you even have friends like this, right? Just worthless. I mean, they're just worthless. They're just worthless. Don't regard your servant as scum, right? Worthless. Because I've been speaking out of my great anxiety and vexation all this time. In my humble and accurate opinion, as you well know, the way in which I interpret the Bible, is that I see the characters. I believe that the Bible, and the way I like to introduce this, is that I actually do believe the Bible is true. I really do. I believe the Bible is true. And what I mean by that is that the picture that it paints of the way in which the world works and the way in which people are is actually the way in which people are. And that is, it does not sugarcoat things. It does not make good characters and bad characters. It makes human characters. I don't know the last time you looked in a mirror, but human characters are a combination. And they get all smooshed up, just like you, and just like me. In my humble and accurate opinion, there's probably 3, don't make me list them. But I suspect that in the stories of Genesis through 2 Kings that we'll be covering this semester, there's probably 3 to 5 characters that me, myself, I would consider to be good. I mean, just good, wholesome characters. Good people. People that when I grow up, I want to be like. Hagar was one of these, for me. Another one, for me at least, is Hannah. She is far from being a worthless person. Elkanah, Penina, Eli, but Hannah, she's pretty cool. And so Eli answered, So she says, I've been speaking on my great anxiety and vexation all this time. Eli answered, oh, well, go in peace. The God of Israel grant the petition you have made to him. There's a little line in the Epistle of James. Do you know the Epistle of James? No. It's in the, what's that called? That's right, New Testament. And at least in the King James Version, which is what I memorized it in, and again, I hate memory verses, but I memorized it in, is that what good does it do, brothers, if a person poor comes to you and you say to that person, depart in peace, be ye warmed and filled, but you don't do anything to actually help them in their adversity. Go in peace, the God of Israel grant the petition you have made to him. He doesn't, this is not a pastoral counselor, right? She's been weeping, she's been crying, her eyes are red, right? She's been, depart in peace. And notice what she says. What I would say, well, I won't tell you what I would have said, but she says, let your servant find favor in your sight. And then the woman went to her quarters, and remarkably, whatever happened there in that holy place or right outside that holy place actually affects her. The woman went to her quarters, and she ate, and she drank with her husband, and her countenance was sad no longer. So she actually perks up. They arose early in the morning, they worshipped before the Lord, they went back to their house at Ramah. Elkanah knew his wife. You know what that means? And the Lord remembered her, and in due time Hannah conceived and bore a son, and she named him Samuel, because she said, I have asked him from the Lord. And I guess theoretically the idea is that the name Samuel means God heard. So, we're going to jump. So, when the kid is finally weaned, that is when the kid is about 4, 5, 6 years old, still small, but can regularly eat solid food for them. What she does is that she brings him up, she presents him to Eli. Eli takes him and trains him how to be a priest. Cool. And chapter 2, Hannah sings a song that we're not going to read, we're not going to sing it either. But the heart of this song, in fact, if you know anything about the Gospel of Luke, the Magnificat, Mary's song, is actually formed off of this song. And basically what the song is about is that circle of life, just like the Lion King. And that is that the way in which the world works, this is the way the world works, and that is that people that are on top never stay on top. People are always knocked off their pedestals. And people that are down never stay down. Those people are eventually exalted. And this is the way the world works. And so if you think that someone is really, really important in this story, just hold on to the reins, because that's going to change. I wonder who might be important in this story. This story from the books of, anyway, just notice. Starting in verse 11, what we're going to do now is that we're going to flash back and forth between two types of sons. We're going to have Samuel on one hand, and we're going to have Hophni and Phinehas on the other hand. Every time we read about Samuel, it's going to be rainbows and bunnies and little doves and sparrows flying everywhere. And every time we read about Hophni and Phinehas, the basses and the cellos you can hear, and things will get dark, things will get creepy. So just notice the way in which it goes back and forth and back and forth. So Elkanah went home to Ramah, while the boy remained, that is Samuel, remained to minister to the Lord in the presence of Eli. Bunnies and rainbows. Now the sons of Eli were, do you see the word scoundrels? You know what word that is? Scum. It's funny, isn't it, in the first chapter? Eli accused Hannah of being scum. And yet his own sons are scum, the narrator tells us. The sons of Eli were scoundrels. They were worthless. They were, ugh. And the reason why that is true is because they had no regard for the Lord or for the duties of the priest of the people, which is kind of important for you to know if you happen to be a priest. They don't care.